and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another Plantmas video. God, I don't know what day we're on. I feel like I'm filming so much at the minute that like all the days are getting muddled together. So welcome to Plantmas Day, whatever. Today I am going to be giving you a tour of my alocasia collection. I think I surprisingly have a lot of alocasias. When I was pulling them all out for this video, I was kind of like, what? When did I get all of these? Especially since alocasias tend to be a harder plant, especially for beginners. But I've just always had quite good success with them, so. Really quick though, if you are new here and you don't know me already, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet, so if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thank you so much for returning. I really appreciate it. Let's get into this collection. I don't know what that was, but let's start with the alocasia that I got first. The OG, the one that got me into the game. The original alocasia poly. So this one, it's actually kind of hard to show because I don't know why this leaf is going like fully upside down, but it does, and it is. But this is my alocasia poly. This was actually one of my first plants ever. I saw it in a plant shop and I was like, I really like that. And the shop owner said like, oh, I might like drop a few leaves, like that's normal. And it did, and it was fine. And I still absolutely love it. It also at one point went completely dormant, like to the point where I had to cut it back to nearly nothing. It had just like one leaf for the longest time. Might have been this leaf, might not. This one's kind of on its way out, but it had just one leaf. It has like 2 plants in the pot, and this one continued having the leaf. This one was down to nothing, but I just kind of kept on persisting with it and like kept keeping an eye on it and didn't give up with it. I feel like that's something that can kind of deter a lot of young plant parents, early people like early in their plant collecting career, is if their alocasia goes into dormancy, it can feel like you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it just happens and you just need to be patient, and mine has now got 4 leaves. As you can see, it had more over the summer, but again, I think it's slowing it down for winter. It's not in the brightest of spots nor the warmest of spots. It actually sits in my kitchen window, which gets like northwest light, so like some evening sun if there is sun, but not that much because the window is shaded by a tree, so doesn't get loads, and that window does get opened pretty regularly, so this one does get some cold drafts because we have to open the window in the kitchen, otherwise it gets too steamy. So yeah, I mean, it's doing pretty well considering that I've had it for probably like 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, I love it. And it's not the biggest, most beautiful alocasia in the world, but I absolutely love it, and it's like my special mama plant, which I eventually I'm going to be putting in with the baby plant because it was still in soil until very, very recently. This is the most recent one I've put into pond, and I put it into pond because I want to join it with its babies. So these are its babies. I discovered further my love of alocasias when I found corms in the soil of that mama plant when I was like checking to see if it had root rot or whatever. I found, I think, something crazy like 17 corms, and over the course of probably about 6 months I got some of them to sprout, and now they're like growing into proper mature plants of themselves. I think I have 4 or 5 in this pot, and they're growing so well, and it's been a minute, but I'm not giving them any sort of extra care or anything special, just letting them do their thing, and they're like proper maturing, and it makes me really happy. And I hope that once I put the mama plant in this pot, it will look like a crazy full pot of alocasia poly, and I'm very, very, very excited about it. So yeah, also if you want to watch my growing alocasias from bulbs video and you want to learn how to do that yourself, I will link it in the clickable eye, and you can check that out because it is a very interesting video. I had a lot of fun experimenting with it, and honestly, it's probably one of my proudest plant moments was figuring out how to grow alocasias from bulbs all on my own, because when I was posting that video there was really not that much information out there. So I'm glad to be a part of bringing the information out. Also, it's got a new leaf, which is like really exciting. Look at that. Oh, look how purple it is. That is stunning. I suppose I could continue going in order of when I got them, but I'm far too lazy to do that. So I'm just gonna go in order of how they are arranged on here, which is totally random. So this one here, it's a bit awkward to show on camera, it's a bit sprawly, but this is an alocasia Brancifolia Pink Passion, and this is one of the plants that I got at the Rare Plant Festival this summer, and I just think it is the funkiest alocasia I've ever seen. It looks so philodendron-y in its leaves, like they are like nothing I would ever expect of an alocasia. I think I've said that several times about this plant, but it is just so weird, and the leaves emerge similar to tortum, that they've already got their fingers and they just kind of like unfurl and like look all creepy and spooky, and I absolutely love it. This is the newest leaf on it right now, and it's just perfect. I think this one might be on its way out at the minute, but it's fine. This one lives in the Reversa cabinet, and oh, the first two live outside of cabinets, they just live in general home conditions. But this one lives in my Reversa, so it's getting slightly higher humidity than like your average. And I should probably repot it because like roots. But it's in a makeshift self-watering pot because I don't have any more self-watering pots that I could put it in. I should probably just buy more at this point, but I don't want to. So I'm trying to make sure I don't squish the root on the way back down. That's one of the main problems with having them in these sort of makeshift self-watering pots. They can get squished. But I love this plant, and it kind of fills my need to have these sort of stripy stemmed alocasias, because I've always really wanted like ones like the Zebrina and stuff that have those super stripy stems, and that's been a wish list plant of mine for ages, and I don't know why I've never gotten it, but I haven't. And so this one kind of like fills that void because they're like a bit pink and stripy and fun. So that's the Brancifolia. This little guy, very, very little, is one that I got for my birthday, and I'm a bit confused. So to me, off the bat, it looks like an alocasia poly, but it was labeled as an alocasia Longiloba Grandis, which do have a very similar leaf presentations to the poly, so I wouldn't be surprised if it will mature into something slightly different, but the base of the leaf does look pretty poly, maybe even a bambino kind of thing. Either way, I'm not like that upset about it. I think it's cute, and this one's living in my little pond box, just straight in a reservoir of water, and it seems to be pretty happy with that. Nothing special. It's taking its time putting out new leaves, though it looks like they're... No, that's not a new one. This is the newest leaf, so I don't know when it'll put another one out, but I think it's pretty as it is, and I like it. This one is another one of my older alocasias. This is my alocasia Black Velvet, and I grew this one from the tiniest little like baby plant. Like the leaves were like this big, and now it is just growing huge. Like by comparison, it has like tripled in size, which is pretty mental. This one also lives in a cabinet. This one lives in the Mills bow, and I think it really likes it there, and I don't really want to pull it out because I don't want to. I think this one might also be going a little bit dormant because I'm pretty sure this leaf is on its way out, but it's fine. It does look like it's putting out another bit of new growth, so maybe it's not going dormant. Maybe it's just having a bit of the one in, one out policy. Maybe I need to fertilize it more and make sure it's got enough nutrients in its substrate, because this one is also in pon, and I mean all of these are in pon. I don't have any alocasias in soil because I struggle with them in soil, and I find that they prefer this so much more, and I don't need to worry about watering nearly as much when I have them in pon or semi-hydro. they absolutely flourish. So I'm going to continue growing them in semi-hydro for the rest of eternity because I like it. But I am in love with this one. I feel like this one started me out on the sort of more rare or like uncommon alocasias. Like this leaf is so dark and velvety, and like the contrast veins and the whole texture of it, like, tell me that's not stunning. And it's starting to like lobe here, which is kind of cool. So I'm really excited to see how it continues growing and changing and just being a happy one for me. I love it so much. I could stare at this one all day. I'm obsessed with it. So in that same order, years and years and years ago, I also got this alocasia, which is an alocasia silver dragon. And it also had really, really baby leaves, like this big. And this one has taken a lot longer to sort of grow out and give me, like, to size up, I guess is the right word. It has only like doubled in size as opposed to tripled, but it's taking its sweet time in doing so. I'm not mad about it. I know that these can be slightly tougher and harder to get to grow big and beautiful and bushy, especially with the like one in, one out policy with leaves. I feel like that's a super common thing for alocasias. So yeah, like I'm not mad about it. It's completely fine. And I know this one does have like some spots of stuff on it that's actually like drips of diatomaceous earth because I'm really sloppy at pouring my water on my houseplants, and if they've got DE on them, it just kind of goes everywhere. So I should probably clean them, but at the same time, I'm not that mad about it. Also, like the backs of these leaves, look at that. They have like sort of like blood red veins in there, which I think is so cool. It makes it look like proper dragony, and I absolutely love it. I could look at this one all day. I love it. It's just silver. It's kind of like the opposite of the black velvet. Like, whereas the black velvet is dark with really bright veins and like that contrast, this one has the opposite and it's light with dark veins. And I think it's just a bit of fun and like beautiful leaf. But yeah, I love this one as well. I love all of these ones. I don't really have that many alocasias that I don't love. Or I don't have any alocasias that I don't love myself, but yeah, if I don't have it, it either means I want it or I don't love it, so. An alocasia that I got recently, which actually looks kind of similar, is this one here. This I actually got after I did my blue plant wishlist video. Come on, focus. This is an alocasia platinum, and it was on my blue plant wishlist for a while, but actually one of my followers sent it to me because they saw that I really wanted it and they had a corm, and so they were like, have, and I'm like, thanks. And I think it is stunning. Like, it's got all the joy of the silver dragon, but it's like more shiny leathery, whereas the dragon is matte. And like you can really see the sort of texture on these leaves, which is just, oh, it's everything. So I'm like, this one's, I think, my newest alocasia, and so far it's doing well. It's just in pon or semi-hydro and living its best life again in the cabinet. I think I keep most of them in cabinet situations just because it's perfect conditions. Why wouldn't I? Another baby one that I got recently that you actually probably saw in my November favorites video is my alocasia Jacklyn corm that's growing. Like, look at that. These leaves have like sized up loads, because when I showed it, its leaves were like this big, super tiny, and since it's been like out of the little container, I had it in my little corms container. This is how I grow my bulbs at the minute. They're just in a tiny little, not a Tupperware, it's like a sauce container from takeout with a shallow puddle of water. So these bulbs were in that until a couple weeks ago, and it's actually one bulb. It's a twin corm, which is super fun. I can put a picture in here of what it looks like because freaking cool. It has like 2 growth points on one corm, which I'm super excited about. But I have like really coveted the Jacklyn for a while. I think I said I recently got it. I didn't recently get it. I recently potted it up, but it is just stunning because I got the corm for my birthday, and which was like in June, so it's only just now put these out. That just goes to show how long things take. Some are a bit dormant for a while and they take a while to like get going and start producing growth, so you just have to be patient with them. That's why I put them in a container, I close it up, and I just don't look at it for quite a long time until I notice that like maybe there's some green popping out, and then I will open it up and plant that one up when it happens. But yeah, I just love the sort of texture on these leaves, and like that they're furry and the dark veining. And it's crazy that like you're getting very characteristic Jacklyn leaves from such a small like age, like such a small plant, because I feel like sometimes things take a while to get to their like mature leaf form, but these ones start from like baby, which is so cute. I love it so much. I think next I'm gonna do my other big one. So this one also doesn't live in a cabinet setting. God, oh my god, it looks so sprawly. It is so sprawly. But this is my alocasia Mitcholitiziana. I think it's how it's pronounced. It's commonly referred to as a Friedeck, but I think the Friedeck is technically the variegated version, because Friedeck means two and the variegated one has white on it, which is definitely on my wish list. I would absolutely love to have a variegated Friedeck, or a Friedeck in general, but I absolutely love this alocasia as well. This one has gone through quite a journey with me. I've had it looking really good. I've had it looking pretty bad. Currently it's very leggy and sprawly. I feel like I really need to get it into a spot that works well for it, because like I've had it in lots of places like high up, and so a lot of the leaves have been growing like downwards, which makes sense because they're growing towards the light. But now I have it in a low spot, and so the leaves are like growing upwards, like this one up here. And so it's just a very awkward plant. It's just so spread out. Maybe I should prune it back and see if that helps. I have been staking it up, but even that isn't ideal. It's just one of those like really sprawly plants for me, and maybe I need to cut it back and start over, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I feel like alocasias tend to be okay with that, but I am obsessed with these leaves. I feel like the Friedeck leaves, or I'm just gonna call it Friedeck because I can't be bothered to say Mitcholitiziana every time, but like these leaves are so, like they look like a cartoon. Like they look like a cartoon version of a leaf. Just so matte and perfect, and like the veining is just exactly where you would think it would be. So they look fake. It looks like a fake plant, and I kind of love it. And so like I find they actually don't go crispy either. This one lives just like out and about in my home, and I do have a fairly humid home. It tends to be like 60% most of the time, so it is fine in just my home humidity. But yeah, it doesn't crisp, and I love it. Yeah, not a single leaf on here has like a crispy tip or anything, which I feel like is one of my like big issues with the sort of silver dragon and the dragon scale. They get like crispy tips and like ugly ends of the leaf, which isn't as enjoyable to look at. So I think it just stays so perfect, and I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I would be obsessed with it if it like grew in the way I wanted it to. I'm thinking maybe I could probably like pot it deeper, because like I have this big stem here, and like the leaves start coming out here, so I feel like all of this, I could probably propagate it. Should I try and propagate an alocasia? Like not from corm? Should I give it a go? That like kind of scares me massively, but maybe I'll do it. I'm very tempted. If I do, I'll like take a picture or something and put it on in a video, because I think that would be really interesting and a scary task for myself. Next we have another baby one. So this is my Alocasia Cuprea Red Secret, and I had quite a big plant of this a long time ago, and it went fully dormant and potentially had root rot as well. It was an unhappy plant, and I kind of just let it die, which is kind of bad, but it's okay. I was able to get, I think, 1 or 2 bulbs from it, and now it has grown and sprouted, and I'm getting some bigger leaves. For a while, all of the leaves were sort of this size, and now I'm getting like more mature ones. But this is like a very special alocasia. It's super shiny and it's like almost iridescent. I think my leaves aren't super yet because they're very young and maybe not in like the ideal light conditions. This one is another one in my pond box, just like sitting in a water reservoir, so it's not getting like perfect light, but maybe I could up it and see if it gets better, or move it into the, like a cabinet or something, and see if that would help, because I would love to get some like proper shiny Cuprea Red Secret leaves, because that would be great. So one day, but for now it's small and I really don't pay attention to it at all. Is that bad? I don't know, it's what it is. Up next I have a couple dragon scales. I have this one, which as you can see is very, whoa, sorry, I just noticed it. This one, it must have like hit something when it was growing and broke off a bit, and then it repaired itself and it's still doing fine. That's really cool. But I grew these ones from bulbs as well. I think I got these in a swap, and this one has kind of struggled with the same issues as my silver dragon. It doesn't size up very well. This one's also gotten super duper leggy. It's been in my cabinet, and the grow lights in my cabinet, or like my Mills bow, aren't the brightest in the world. Maybe if I put it in my Redsta where it's got like a really bright Arcadia Jungle Dawn light, that would help. But yeah, I don't know, as you can see, like this is what I was talking about, the leaf tips going crispy. So these ones go crispy and then mushy. I think it's probably from inconsistent watering, which is a problem I have with some of these like makeshift self-watering pots. Oh my god, these roots are insane. Again, I should probably give this one more fertilizer, because I think it's in the Soil Ninja Semi-Hydro, meaning it doesn't have any sort of nutrients within it inherently, and I need to add it myself. So I need to just be more on top of that, which I can do. And hopefully, if I do that, I can get some like more mature growth. Like this one's probably my biggest leaf on this plant. But hopefully I'll get it to grow bigger, because I do have another one which I would love to like join them together, because I think that would look gorgeous. But I have another one. This was one that I got as an import that I was pretty sure was going to like absolutely die, but I was able to save it. It had like corm rhizome rot, but I was able to get it to continue growing, and I'm pretty proud of that. But it has grown so much since I've had it. It was just a single leaf for a while, and now it's over here like producing crazy big ones. I mean, this one's probably on the way out, but at the same time, it doesn't look too bad. Oh, is that a new leaf or is that a flower? It's producing something new in the middle there, which is exciting. But I do really, really love this one, and if my other one can grow this big as well, I could either join them together. I mean, I could probably join them together now. I could either join them together now, or I could sell the smaller one. But I have like an emotional connection to the smaller one because I grew it from corms, and so I'm like, I love it so much that I don't want it to not be mine. It's complicated because I like how this one's big and I don't want to get rid of this one, but I also can't get rid of that one, so I'm gonna have both. Yeah, because normally I'm not a very doubles person, but with alocasias, apparently I can. I love this one. So beautiful. Like, look at those leaves. Those are just perfect. I have this one, which is kind of a mystery baby alocasia. I think it might be an alocasia green shield corm that I took before giving my plant to Claire, because that one was, it was again growing really leggy for me and not how I wanted it to grow, and I don't think I was giving it adequate light even in the cabinet, this one. So I just decided, like, Claire, you can have it. She has much better light than me, so she's having it, and it's growing really, really well for her. But I had some corms before I gave it to her, and this one is sprouting. It's a very, very tiny. I kind of forgot it existed, but it's cute, I guess. Another one that I got on import, I feel like it's like so empty over here now that all of the alocasias are gone. But another one I got on import was this alocasia reversa. And oh my god, I wanted this one so badly as well because it's kind of like the reverse of the poly. It's got like the same texture sort of leaves, similar-ish leaf shape. It's not as like wobbly as the poly is, but it's got a silvery color with dark veins, so it's reversed rather than the dark with the light veins. And I just think it kind of like, it looks like little black holes going into the plant. And I think it's very pretty. Again, this one's also putting out a new leaf. So it's obviously doing well. And I think, oh, it's got one baby root in there sticking out. So it's gonna be somewhat happy. Oh, it's so cute. Ah. This one is an alocasia Stingray, which I think I got some corms of this for my birthday as well in June. And I had a big Stingray like this time last year that just decided it did not want to live. Like it refused to live. There was no pests, there was no problems. I think it's just one of those plants that was like, absolutely not, I'm not going to continue. So it didn't. And I was quite sad about it, and so the Stingray went back onto my wish list. And some friends got me some corms for my birthday, and I think it is so cool. I love these sort of weird leaves. Like, look at that leaf point. Like, why is it doing that? I don't know why, but I love it. And I want to have it and keep it happy. It's got gorgeous pink stripy stems as well, which we like. And yeah, this one's also not in cabinet conditions. One of my few small ones that's not. It's just on my plant shelves in the office, and it seems to be doing fine there. It's getting quite a lot of light and probably some like residual humidity from the plants around it. But overall, just a nice, chill, like fairly easygoing alocasia from my experience, my limited experience of it. So I've got two more to show you. I'm saving the best for last, the one I'm like most excited about because I absolutely love it. But this one here is an alocasia Regal Shield, which can grow huge, like massive, massive, massive. And I'm hoping one day I can grow mine massive, massive, massive. But like, look at those leaves. It's like, it's kind of hard to show because the light is reflecting off them. But like, they're like kind of velvety. Not really. Maybe I should look at these under a microscope because I feel like these ones would be very interesting to see because I don't think they would be what I would expect. But it's kind of got like a dark green red kind of vibe to it, and I think mine is a little bit leggy, but this plant grows absolutely huge. They can grow massive, so like I said, maybe one day I can make that happen for myself. Sorry, I saw some bugs on it, and I think they're just predatory mites because there are predatory mites in the cabinet, making sure that there's no thrips on things. I always just get like a bit nervous whenever I see the predatory mites because they, like, at first glance they look very similar to spider mites, but alas, they are not. They are the good guys, and they are keeping my plant happy and healthy. But yeah, I think this one's, it's a pretty cool one. The backs of the leaves are pretty nice as well. Like, look at that. Beautiful, like, red, veiny backs. So it's a fun one. It's interesting. I've never had an alocasia with this sort of leaf texture before, so I'm interested to see how it like grows and matures. And then last, but certainly not least, I think they're the best, and they're actually my favorite alocasia right now, are these alocasia Melos. So I got this one from Josie, Sir Plants a Lot, because she was moving and her one wasn't doing great. And to be honest, My one had like a very yellow leaf until a minute ago. I just chopped it off, and like it's also not doing fantastic, and I'm not sure why. It's in very, very happy conditions. It's up in like the top of the cabinet here, but I have heard that there was like kind of a bad batch of Melos or Melos where they just don't have the greatest of genes and they won't produce like very many leaves. That being said, I don't know if this is one or not, or if it's just me in my home and it's just small and taking its time, but I love it. Like, look at the texture of this. This was one of my favorites looking at in the microscope video. I absolutely freaking love it. And because I knew that this one was like iffy, I got myself another baby corm. Because I was like, there's no way I'm not gonna have a Melo now, because they're my favorite. I need to like actually repot this one because I've accidentally pulled it a little bit too far out of the self-watering substrate. But it's so freaking cute, and I think I'll probably end up putting these together because there's no need to have 2 pots when I could have 1. Save myself some space and put something else in there or next to it instead. But yeah, I'm just, this alocasia, it's so nice. Like the bluey silveriness in the leaves, which you can't even see the blue really in this light, but when they get bigger, they're like super bluey silvery, and the texture is just so phenomenal. And I love them so much. Yeah. So that is it. Those are all of my alocasias, my entire alocasia collection. I actually had more than I thought. Because they're all like very scattered throughout the house. I kind of didn't realize how many I had, but I really love all of them. They are so nice, and they're definitely one of my top 5 genii. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I think they are. Seeing by the number I have, for it to be a hard plant, I must really freaking like them. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplants you'd like me to talk about in the future. If there's any here that you want me to make care videos about that I haven't already, or if there's any other like genus collections that you'd like to see. I do have a playlist of the other ones, which I will link in the clickable eye, but if I haven't done one that you want to see, let me know and I can make that happen for you. And subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!